Okay, cool. Well, I think I'll kind of start at the beginning. I imagine you've talked a lot about being in a band with your dad when you were younger.
We talked a lot about a lot of stuff,
Yeah.
so whatever you want to know.
Starting out, that young with a father that encouraging of music is,
Yeah.
That's interesting to me. And
Yeah, well, that's probably why I do this, is because I always did feel like this kind of approval, I think, to live a life of playing music. And I was always really um, supported by both of my parents, really, to whenever I wanted to sing, I wanted to be an artist. They were very, much believed in me. Like, they thought that I should do it too. My grandmother thought that I should get a real job for a while until she saw me on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno. And he gave her a shout out, and then she approved.
Nice. What's a real job? What was her idea for a real job?
A job that makes you money.
Doesn't it make you money?
Yes, but at the time, I was for 2 years when I first moved to LA.
Right.
I was sleeping on an air mattress in my brother's living room, living off of $200 a month. And so she thought that I was mooching off of my brother and that I should get a job. Which is probably accurate, but if I wouldn't have had that opportunity to live with my brother, then I probably wouldn't be where I am, so.
And starting off so young, did you ever have aspirations for another career, or was it always music?
I think maybe I thought it'd be cool to be a TV host.
Right.
But that was about it. Really. It was always music. I just, I went to nursing school. I went to nursing school when I was 16. My dog is so loud. She's rubbing her face on the carpet. It's really funny. Wow, she's having a good time. I went to nursing school, and I just felt like, there's something in me. There's this passion in me to create. And if I didn't get to create and kind of express myself through music, I don't think I would be happy. So I'm really happy that I get to do this.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Did you get to the point where having your dad in the band felt kind of weird and you had to have that conversation with him where it's like, you're out of the band? You're out of my band?
No, I never kicked him out of his band. No, but I mean, definitely there's a part of me, going to Los Angeles and working on my own music where, I'm wanting to really have a creative voice in everything, from the way that a song sounds, to the way that it's written, to the way that it's presented in video, to the artwork for the album. And at a certain point, I think, you really have to make music that feels good to you and no one else. And that's the best service that I can do for me and for my fans. But my parents, come to a lot of shows. And my dad actually played on the EP and the album. He played harmonica.
Cool.
So I always think of, little ways to, still kind of, enjoy music together. So.
I think it's awesome that you have that too. I mean, what a great thing, right? Bringing your family in. So how old were you when you started playing music and started performing?
I was probably, since I was 8 years old, I was always singing.
Yeah.
Yeah, singing a lot. And then I started to play in the blues band when I was around 12. And really got a lot of learning what happened during that time, just about how to play with other musicians and how to be on stage, and got into the blues at a really young age. So it all helped me get to where I am.
Nice. I consider Til The Casket Drops one of the finest debuts in recent years.
Thank you.
I think, every song on it's got a little piece of mojo on it, and it certainly serviced you well. You had a number of singles off of it. Are you happy with how it was received? Do you have any regrets or anything you would change?
No, I don't have any regrets or anything I would change about that album. I feel like what's most important to me is to really be authentic to whatever I'm going through in my life. It has to come from a real place. That album came from a real place. My new EP came from a real place. And my new album came from a real place. And as long as I'm making music that is from my heart and my soul, then I don't have any regrets. I think the moment that someone lets everything out here get into their head, which I think some people could do, I think that's the only thing that you have to try not to do as an artist. And I make sure that I don't let myself do that, you know. So
Is there a personal highlight or a moment from the past 3 years where you just kind of reflect on it and say, wow, that happened? You know?
so many.
I'll bet.
So many moments. I mean, I really try to enjoy this ride wherever it takes me. I mean, you know, playing the Firefly Festival in Delaware was like, I played for the most people I ever played for at that time. It was like 15,000 people. And I definitely had a moment where I was like, oh my gosh, like this is crazy. But I also live on a tour bus. And I tour nationally, and I leave for the 2-3 months at a time, and I live a pretty incredible life, you know, and so I love it all.
Did you approach the material for This Means War any differently from your casket sessions?
No, not really. You know, I think if anything, I just wrote the first album for me, really. just to vent what I was going through. Yeah. That's it. And if anything, I think that the way that was received by the world gave me more confidence to kind of go back and write, 12 more stories about what was going on in my life. A lot of the songs were started on guitar and vocal, just me sitting in a room, just like the first album was written, and kind of wanted to go further into blues and further into hip-hop. And just be true to who I am, so.
The 4 songs that are on Love and War they're kind of up-tempo. I guess when I look at your body of work on Casket, the 13 songs, it feels like the 4 songs that are on this EP just feel a little more light, and they have some more beats to them.
Let me think. So I would say, okay, let me think. Lonely, Rescue, Marry Well, and Love 3 Times.
Yeah.
I would say up-tempo, I could see that. Yeah. Lighter, I don't see that.
Yeah.
Because I see something like, especially like Marry Well, I think that song is fierce as, like, I would not think that song is light at all. And even Love 3 Times, if you really listen to Love 3 Times, there is a very, very dark and twisted story there. So I think that it's something that has a lot of different layers to it.
Yeah.
And Lonely is going further into the blues than I'd ever gone on the first album. So I think that really it's kind of going even deeper into my artistry. As far as tempo-wise, some of the stuff is a little quicker.
Yeah.
Than some of the stuff on the first album. But that's just from playing live and feeling like it should be quicker.
Like Lonely's got that sort of up-tempo Eurobeat bit.
Yeah.
The harmonica mixed over top of it. It's kind of funky, but it's...
it's a little quicker, but I mean, there were things that I learned from like playing and touring for 3 years, where if I would play a festival set, I would kind of be searching through my stuff to find stuff that would be a little bit more up-tempo, a little quicker. So some of the writing was a little bit, the beats are a little bit more up-tempo, intentionally, because it feels good when they're like that on stage. So
cool.
Yeah.
Now I haven't looked around for this, but I'm going to ask anyway. Are any of your songs available as demos? Like, do they live anywhere online?
No, not really.
What would they sound like compared to the finished material? Are they radically different?
Stripped down, really.
Yeah.
That would be the only difference. I think they'd sound actually pretty similar, because most of the songs that I wrote were written on guitar and vocal. Even on the new album, I mean, Love 3 Times was written exactly how Til The Casket Drops was written.
Nice.
Just me in a room with a guitar, and so one demo that is actually pretty magical is Last Love Song. The demo was actually really emotional, and I think I almost cried toward the end of the song on the demo, But maybe at one point it'll be released. So.
Cool. Do you ever do acoustic sets where you just come out with a guitar and do something yourself and maybe, relive some of those?
Punch in the list, so
songs?
she's gonna keep whining. Nope. Yeah. Charlie Ain't Home.
Nice.
So Charlie Ain't Home has always been performed on stage, acoustically, differently than how it is on the record.
Nice.
And then the cool thing about how I write my songs is they can be done so many different ways. So Marry Well, Love 3 Times, and Rescue all have versions where I sit down and I just play acoustic guitar and I sing them, because that's how I wrote them.
Cool.
And so when we do like acoustic shows, like at radio stations for a handful of people, we play them differently than we play them for the full show.
Yeah.
Yeah, we play them stripped down.
Nice.
Yeah.
When you were recording the new material, did you go to the same musicians that collaborated with you on Casket, or did you use all new musicians?
Well, it's interesting that you would ask that. So most of the stuff, the first album was programmed a lot.
Okay.
There's not really that many live musicians on it. And on the new album, I actually got my bass player, Shadarius Shields, to play some bass on my new album. And a lot of the drums were programmed, just like the first album. And then guitar-wise, Eric Walls plays on it, and
Nice.
he also played on the first album. So,
Cool.
yeah.
Now, when you're putting together a touring band, and you're playing the material and demoing it for bands, how do you find some of that material grows, if you will, as you're practicing it to perform on the road?
Well, it's a really fun process for me. I think really it's just building it out, especially where I'm at now. Like, I'm pretty confident as an artist, and I care about every little detail, every little drum sound, every way that the song is played. So I'm very involved in it, and I work with Eric Walls, who's my musical director. And we usually conceptualize how I want to see things, and then we'll kind of build it from there. So.
Now, I'm a big fan of a lot of the songs on your first album. When I listened to Save My Life, I play that song and I'm like, wow, why did this not catch on? And El King is having such success with X's and O's, which I feel is similar in both chorus and style and delivery to that song. It's curious to me.
I don't have that answer.
I'm not saying
but
that,
I like El King, and
so
I like that
do
song.
I love El King. It's just, it's like the world just sort of missed the boat on that, because that song lives on your first album, and it's equally good as far as I'm concerned.
Thank you.
So.
I don't know. There's only so much I can control, and I just kind of stick to what feels good and kind of put it out there in the world and hope that it does well. So.
Now, I believe I read this somewhere. You ventured out into a fashion line as well. Like, you are into clothing and.
I'm interested in fashion more than I've ever been before. Yes,
Okay.
because I feel like as an artist, like artists I grew up being really interested in. I mean, even Muddy Waters and David Bowie and Freddie Mercury had a voice through what they wore. And I think there's a lot you can do with your creative expression. It doesn't have to just be songwriting. Songwriting will always be the core of who I am, and I think I take more pride this time around in the delivery of that and how people see that. So, yeah.
Cool. Could you pick a recent album release that blew you away?
A recent album release that blew me away. Oh, man. I don't know if The Weeknd's album is out yet, but I really love what I'm hearing from The Weeknd.
Yeah?
Yeah, they're really nailing it.
And are you going to play Last Love Song today?
No.
Damn.
No.
All right. Well, I'll just have to get over it.
I'm playing Rescue tonight, and that
Cool.
is the ballad that I am committed to right now.
Fair
So,
enough.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome.